Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be looking at Obsidian Flames again, but this time I'm going to be doing, looking at all of them in the context of GLC. So if you don't know the rules of GLC, it is, you have single prizes, no rule box Pokemon. You have all one type of Pokemon in your deck, so you could have like a grass deck, you can only play grass Pokemon, and you can also have, um, no, it's one of every card. So it's singleton, which means that yeah, you can only have one of each Pokemon. So you can have like a 1-1-1 line, but nothing more than that. And in terms of trainers, only one of each trainer. You can have more than one of a basic energy though, and also generally it's the expanded format, but sometimes it's played in the standard format as well. But let's just hop right into it. So first of all, there's a new Gloom coming out in the next set, which is good, but for now, nothing. There's this Blossom though, and Blossom evolves from Gloom, but also Vileplume evolves from Gloom, which is kind of interesting. But there are some pretty good Vileplumes as well. But Blossom here does 90 flip coin for each energy attaches Pokemon, 90 per head. So this is okay. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's the best option. There are some stronger ones. Like Torterra is better, Rillaboom and Venusaur, and those are all stage 2s. So I don't think Blossom's great because you want energy acceleration. Maybe if you're playing a Cherim based deck, but those are kind of sketchy anyway. So I don't think Blossom's that good. Shuckle is not that good. Let's see. I don't remember all those Pokemon either. Okay, so this is Masquerain. It's interesting. Flip coin for each until you get tails. For each heads, you get discard a random card from your opponent's hand. I don't know anything of a grass control deck. There might be, but like Vileplume, as I said, was good, but I don't know. I don't think this Masquerain's that good. I don't think it fits into a deck, I should say. Let's see. There's this Amoonguss. That's not very good. Trevenant's okay. It can kind of stop him from retreating, does some damage, but in my opinion, it's not that good. Although I don't think there's a good Trevenant, but Grass is a decently strong type, so I don't think this Trevenant really competes super well. Whereas Sandrew with anything in it. Let's see. This Dartrix is okay. It has 40 and 22 on your opponent's Pokemon, so if you're playing Decidueye, it's good. But yeah, there's some okay Decidueyes as well. There's one. There's like a spread-based one, which is alright. I don't think Decidueye is the strongest grass line. But if you're playing like grass spread, this Dartrix is the one you'd play. This Serena does 60, and then what's it called? Queen's heal, not like okay. So it does 60 during your opponent's next turn. Defending Pokemon can't be evolved. That's okay, but they can switch out most of the time. It's not the greatest thing in the world, especially for a stage 2. But it's not awful either, especially with the 160 for 2. 20 to yourself isn't ideal, but you have 160 HP. It's not. It's passable. I don't think it's quite good enough, but it might see some niche play. Now we have Arboliva. So you can, for this attack, heal all damage from one of your bench Pokemon or do 90 for one. Again, this isn't awful. I'd like to see it have a little more HP to like survive hits, but I actually like this some in like a single attachment grass based deck. But I'm trying to think of the attackers. You have like Beedrill and like Jump Bluff, and those are decently low HP. So I don't think this Arboliva is great, but if you want to run it with like just not energy acceleration, but you're still playing Torterra, this might be alright because Torterra is pretty big. But there's no Toadstool. Maybe not. This caps this Scovillain. The Scovillain's super good. It's it's super good in the mirror. So it's both grass and fire, but you can only play it in a grass deck. But when play, it's grass and fire, and so it does 110 for 3. But then it can also have fire weakness, which is really nice, which is good against. It also hits weakness on metal, so you hit weakness against 2 other types. And I don't know how. Obviously, like it helps in the mirror. I think it's very good in the mirror. I don't know how the metal mashup is. That's actually probably good because generally they resist you, but I don't know which is applied. Oh, it's not affected by resistance. Okay, I was gonna say if the attack wasn't, if it was affected by resistance, metal both resists, it resists grass and it's weak to fire. So I don't know how that would work. But in this case, it doesn't matter, and it'll pretty much be one-shotting all metal Pokemon unless they have the I don't know. Is it metal frying pan? I think it stops weakness as well as coating metal energy. So if they have that on, obviously it doesn't do it. But generally, I think Scovillain's pretty decent. Ninetales is not great. Okay, this one, excuse me. So for 2 fire, you put 9 damage cards on one of your opponent's Pokemon, then you can't attack next turn. This is okay. I actually saw a video by Andrew Mahone talking about this card in the context of GLC. And it in like a fire-based snipe deck, it's okay. I don't think that's really much of a thing, but if you're playing this Ninetales is pretty good. It's awkward because it's not super strong. I guess a decently strong snipe, but it's not. You're not like one-shotting. You'd rather do like 120 for like 3, I think. 9 is a bit of an awkward number done to just one target. You'd rather obviously be spread around. So I'm not a big fan of this. I think it. There's some other Ninetales as well. So, well, there's one really good. There's the Gus Ninetales, which I believe is really good. But yeah, I don't know. I think this Ninetales it's passable and it might see some play. Fire's not the best type in the game, anyways. This Entei is actually pretty good. If it's in the active, your opponent's active does 20 less, meaning if they're doing spread, it actually stops that a lot. But it means that Entei has essentially like 150 or even more if you're being two-shotted. So that's really nice. It's a very solid ability. With the Pokemon with decent HP, and then it's the classic ramp-based attacker, 60, 20 more for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. Pair this with Emboar, or if you're playing Standard, also just Charizard. You have Welder, you have Blacksmith. You have a few ways of accelerating energy. So I think this Entei is pretty solid. I say pretty solid. It's good. I think you'll definitely see a lot of play. Obviously, a 20 times multiplier isn't that big, but with like 5 energy, you're one-shotting most things. So I think this Entei's, it's a good fire type, just ramp attacker. I can't think of other fire type ramp attackers off the top of my head. There are some other pretty solid Enteis as well, but they're more like combo-y. So I think this one's, well, actually no, this is the Revenge Entei, which is pretty good. Which I think does for 2, it is like 120 if one of your Pokemon was knocked out last turn. This Entei is it's better early game. It's a bit more versatile, I suppose. So I think this one's pretty good. Camerupt. Okay, so this is like a classic. 50 each player discards top of a card, top card of their deck if it's an energy. If either is an energy, it does 100 more. If they're both energy, just 200 more. This is a classic, but we've seen this on, for example, an Entei. And the other deck, 120 for 3 is pretty underwhelming. Yeah, I don't think I think there might be like a lot of Pokemon with this effect now, so you can almost build a Pokemon around this, but still, I don't know. I don't love the attack. And you do have resist stacking your deck with fire energy, but then you're kind of like wasting time when you could just be like attacking with something better. So I'm not a big fan of this Camerupt, but maybe someone will make a deck built around the eruption-based attack. Darmanitan is not very good. It does 120 for 3 if it has any damage counters on it, or 140 for 4. I was just talking about how 120 for 3 wasn't good on Camerupt. I mean, not awful, but not great. And this is that with more steps. So it's not good. And then we see Heatmore, 30 for 2 fire, and then 30 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active. This is okay. There are energy ramp style decks, but those are mostly, I think they're mostly grass and water, and quite frankly, you're going to lose to water and you're going to beat grass. So I don't think this Heatmore is particularly good. There's some other good Heatmore. Well, there's one that's like control one, which is good, but obviously this isn't a control card. So if into different tile decks, I think this Heatmore is all right. Also, like 110 HP is all right, but you'd rather have like more. Like Entei is essentially 150. That's obviously much better. Let's see. Okay, so this Lampent is for Fire Colorless is Gust and does 30 to the new one. This is all right. I think is a Lampent. I don't know if you'd play this Lampent. There's a Lampent with top entry as well, which is a nice ability. Chandelure, 10, 50 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active. This is all right, but there's some other good, decent There's like the self-milling Chandelure. I don't know if that's any good. I think there's something that moves weakness. There are a few Chandelures that are all right. This one's okay, but I don't think it quite stands up to the power level of all the other Pokemon. 150 for 3s. It's certainly not awful. I don't hate it, but it's not. I think it's outclassed by other things as well. Larvesta, Volcarona, very generic Pokemon. Accelerates to itself, 130 for 3. It's okay. Like, it's very underwhelming, but like it's not interesting. But theoretically, you could toss this into a deck. Let's see, Armarouge. If it's in the active and it's damaged, your opponent's now burned. There's the other really like good Armarouge. So this one I don't think you'd ever play because the one that like moves the energy around is super good. Lapras. It does 10 to each your opponent's Pokemon. I'm trying to think of the other Laprases. There's the one that's Ramp. The Ramp one. There's the Paralysis one. I mean, this isn't a lot of damage. 10 to each is not that impressive, so I don't think it's Lapras will see play. Honestly, this is a bit disappointing. And 100 for 3 is whatever. Let's see. Sharpedo. It does 10, 30 more for each color, so your opponent's active retreat cost. There's Jellicent to increase it, but I don't know. I don't think the Sharpedo is very good. I don't know if there are other Pokemon that have attacks like this in water. I can't think of any. If there are, you could theoretically build around it, but to me it sounds a little awkward, and 60 for 2 is obviously not very good. Weasel here is not good. Floatzel here. Okay, on a coin flip, you return when your opponent's active and all cards to their hand. Binary Disruption can be very annoying, but there's like an insane control Floatzel, and there's an okay ramp. The ramp Floatzel's not that good, but the control Floatzel is very good. I think you definitely play that one. And then Temple, Palpitoad, nothing impressive here, but the size of a Toad is kind of interesting. It's 2 water, 120. Next turn you do 220, which is okay. 170 HP, like these are decent stats. I mean, 170 HP is very good. If it's in the active, your opponent's active costs, Pokemon's attack costs 1 colorless more, which is pretty good. This is annoying. I think this is good. It's not like insanely good. I mean, it's like a stage 2, so and it's 2 energy, so you could play it with the ramp. You could not play it with the ramp. Oh yeah, a lot of energy acceleration. I'm not a big fan of this Pokemon. You know, it's like stats are pretty all right, but I'm pretty good in fact. But I don't know. I feel like it's a bit lacking. It kind of takes some time to set up. When you're looking for a stage 2, you're looking for something really strong. But this is like all right. It'll see some play, I think. In terms of other size players, I can't think of any that see play either. Or there's the fighting size player, but not the colorless one. Cubchoo and Beartic is not particularly 170 for 3 is like all good, but you know, outclassed. Cragnole. Okay, this Cragnole is interesting. I don't think it's good in GLC, but it does 30 if it's your second to your first turn. Your opponent's now paralyzed. I think this is like all right, but there's the item lock Cragnole, which is just super good. I don't even know if it sees that much play, but it's a good card. And there's also the Cragnole that like accelerates, which is interesting. Not like super good, but it can be useful in times, especially if you like build around it. You can kind of get it to work. Let's see. I don't know why there's some like Frogadier, but then there's no Greninja as far as I know. Maybe it's coming in later. But Wugtrio, 50 for 1 in stage 1. The defending Pokemon can't retreat. This isn't like the worst thing in the world, but again, not very impressive. This Finizen has an ability, or sorry, an attack that lets you switch it to the bench and then evolve it, which is nice. And then you have this powerful, I don't know which Finizen you'd play, probably this one, but you know, this one, like, I feel like Valiant Evolution is pretty good. This Palafin, though, is super good. It does 210 for 2. You need to switch in, which is a little awkward. I'm trying to think of pivots, and I can't think of any immediately off the top. I mean, there are obviously pivots, but, you know, it's like 210 is very strong. It pretty much one-shots everything. And then your first attack for just 1 water, it's 30 active, 30 to 1 on the bench, which is an okay spread attack as well. And with 150 HP, this Pokemon is very strong. It's kind of hard to deal with in terms of its HP, and then obviously it's very powerful. I think Justice Kick and Jet Punch are both 2 good attacks. Justice Kick's amazing, but in GLC, obviously, you have limited switch options, so you need to kind of keep track of that, but Bird Keeper and not Brune and Guzma are 2 strong options in the deck. So I think Palafin's it's a very good card. You could put it in pretty much any type of water deck as well. You need some acceleration, which you're pretty much always going to play Aqua Patch and like Raihan, I gotta imagine. And then you could do like a water acceleration base deck, and this can kind of cover when you don't have as much acceleration as well. Magnemite, Magneton, and Magnezone. Nothing particularly it's not awful, but there are some very good Magnezones in the form. There's Energy Acceleration, there's Double Supporters. They're both very good. Next up, we got let's see, Electros. This is like Gust, Damage, Paralysis. Theoretically, this isn't very good. There's some better Electros. I think I don't even know if you'd like play an Electros either. Thundurus. This Thundurus is actually very good. It's like it's good in GLC. It's like a pseudo bench barrier. If it's in the active, it's bench barrier. That does 140 and then 90 to itself, which 90 to itself is a lot because you have 110 HP, so that's most of your health. You're looking to heal it up very quickly. This is a bit awkward because it's not a great attacker, but there are some ways of turning off the self damage. Notably, especially if you're playing standard GLC, it would be or not turning it off, but like healing off would be like emergency jelly, which is very useful. Yeah, I think the Thundurus is pretty good. Also with like the new leftovers card, I think it's playable. But it's awkward as well. Like the self damage is just so much, but I think you pretty much have to play it because you need that like bench protection. That's the only way to do it for lightning. This toxicity is bad. There's more for each type of Pokemon on your bench. That won't be good. Why is there so many Tadbulbs? Anyways, these Billy Bolts. This one's immune to lightning attacks, which is okay. Obviously, in the mirror, it's very good, but generally it's not that good. And the other one's 70 and 30 to the bench for 2, which is not bad either. I'm not like hitting on it. I think it's interesting. I don't know if you'd play either of these Belly Bolts. They're not amazing. Like even in Lightning Spread is pretty good, and I don't think this Belly Bolt fits in. Like if you didn't know, Lightning is my main type, so yeah, I think yeah, I don't think this build was quite good enough, or this one, but I don't know how much Lightning's played. If it's played a lot, this one's good. Okay, now Psychic. Cleffa here with Grasping Draw. Draw till you have 7. Free Retreat, but only has 30 HP, which is bad because there's like a decent chunk of spread. You do have Mew or Mr. Mime for bench protection, which is okay. I mean, it's good, but I don't know. This Cleffa is kind of sketchy. I don't hate it, though. It's awkward to get in too early, though. I think this might see some play, but it's just kind of sketchy in my opinion. Clefairy, and Clefable, you actually can't do that. Togepi. Okay, so this Togekiss is actually very good. At the end of your turn, you draw until you have 8 cards in hand. Then for 2 colors, 110 movement energy for this Pokemon. When your bench Pokemon has free retreat, 150 HP. This is just like an insanely good Pokemon. This plus the Gardevoir, the Stage 2 Gardevoir, or the Stage 2 Glade. I guess the Stage 2 Glade is better. Which both move energy to your bench, so you shouldn't have many energy problems. Are just very good cards. They will make your engine very strong. I really like this Togekiss. I think it's insane, especially there's a Togepi and Togetic, which heal, and that's really nice. So this will see a ton of play. It's very good. Next, Espeon. Can't really use that. Grimble, 160 for 3 and 30 to yourself. That's not too bad, honestly. That's pretty strong. Obviously, the self-damage is awkward, but I think this Grimble's all right. I can't think of a good Psychic Grimble either, so this is good. Mawile 30 for each Psychic attached to this Pokemon. That's pretty solid. I don't know how good Psychic Ramp is. You have like Malamar, but that's about it, I think. I don't know. I don't think this Mawile fits super well into any specific deck right now that like is good. But it's a theoretically interesting card, right? But yeah, its HP is a little low for like a Ramp style Pokemon as well. You're looking for like 120 or something at least. Like the Entei had 130. A lot of them have like 120, 130. Next up, we have Grumpig. That's not good. Unfortunately, Lunatone. If you have a Sock and play, you stop effects of stadiums done to your Pokemon. I don't know. This is okay. Like Losity can be pretty bad for some decks, and Losity is a very good card in GLC. There are some other solid stadiums, but most of them are just to help you, not to hurt your opponent. So I don't think this Lunatone is particularly good in GLC. And then we have Claydol. Okay, this one KOs itself. Puts damage counters on the active until the HP is 10. It doesn't necessarily KO itself, so you can boost up its HP using like Big Charm or something. which actually makes this Claydol viable. It will definitely get KO'd next turn, but the issue is your opponent can definitely heal up their Pokemon, which would be bad. So I think this Claydol is not quite good enough. In terms of other Claydols, I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. Sinesty, not particularly good, but Poltergeist is actually super good. So you can do for one Psychic, put recover 2 items or tools from your discard into your hand, which is very nice. For one Psychic, it's like a solid control card, and then you can do 5 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. Oh, I thought it was any way you like. It's only they're active. That's still okay. It's like 50. I thought it was any way you like. I definitely misread that the first time. But yeah, I think this Poltergeist is still pretty good. It's like a control Pokemon. And then like a backup attacker. It's not awful by any means. This is an attacking Pokemon. Next up, Grievard, Poundstone. Okay, this is the one. I don't remember. I think the translation for the name is like really funny as well. I don't remember what it is though. I'll see it at some point. I know. But it does 80 if they have 2 or 4 prizes remaining. It does 120 more. I mean, this could be really good, but I'd probably just play the Houndstone that does more for each Psychic Pokemon in your discard. It's like decently strong and more consistent than this. And then we have fighting now. Okay, 50 immunity on a coin flip. This is pretty all right. I don't hate this Doug Trio. I mean, I'd hate it if it saw play because it's toxic, but it's an all right card. Then we have Larvitar Pupitar, 60, 21 of your own bench Pokemon. That's not great. Yeah. Then we have those past Barba. Okay, this Wish Cache is interesting. For each fighting energy attached, just go to the top card of your opponent's deck. I don't think fighting is. I mean, fighting's kind of bad. Fighting is one of the worst types in the game. There's some very good cards, but a lot of them aren't very good. This Wish Cache is okay. There's, I believe, a good one. It's like an attacking one. This is obviously a mill card. I know nothing of fighting control, to be honest. I don't really know if that exists at all. So, yeah, I don't think this Wish Cache is very good. Bonsly, first card we've seen for Bonsly, I think it's like 16 years or something crazy like that. So, this Bonsly is like not that good. It's the same thing as Cleffa, kind of. Free retreat, free attack. It does 10 in confusion. I don't know. I don't think this is very good. Obviously, setup in GLC, setup-based attacks can be very strong, but this is not that. So, yeah, I don't think this Bonsly is very good in GLC. But I wouldn't be shocked for it to play because, as I said, fighting's not like a great type. A Drill Burr. Okay, and then we have Excadrill. Or, sorry, not Excadrill. We have Stunfisk. I don't know why there are so many like lines that just end. It's kind of weird. But Stunfisk, if it's in the active and damage my attack, it does put, and you have a tool attached, which obviously is not very hard to do, and kind of awkward to get off as well. Put 5 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. You have 120 HP. Then you do 30. They can't retreat. This is a very good Pokemon, I think. I think there's some other good Stunfisk, but I could be wrong about that. But I think this Stunfisk is super good. I think it definitely deserves to see some play as like a very solid 1 energy fighting Pokemon, which is most of the deck because it's not much energy acceleration, if any at all. Crabominable, not 170 for 3 can attack next turn. It's okay. I think there's some better Crabominables though. Lycanroc, not great. 90 for 1 stage 1's good, but they need damage counters on them already. You have Halucha, but it's kind of questionable. Here's the Toadschool, I guess. Toadschool, not great. Let's see. Glimmet, not really good. There's one that has like an evolution search attack. Okay, now we have Pelden Clodsire. Poison stops retreat. That's okay. Both actually are now poisoned. That's worse. But poison stopping retreat's okay, I think. Because obviously, like there's a poison-based dark deck in GLC, which is a decent deck. I don't think this is amazing. Like you're looking at like Galarian Weezing, and this is very much outclassed by Galarian Weezing. That stopping retreat could be useful and very annoying for your opponent to deal with at certain times. But for the most part, I don't think this is not the best one to go with. Umbreon, obviously Umbreon you can't really play, but 50 snipe. I mean, you could play Umbreon. It's awkward to play. 140 can't attack next turn. I don't think it's worth jumping through hoops to get to this. Houndoom, if they're an evolution, you do 120 for 2. That's actually pretty good. I don't hate this Houndoom at all. Dark's a very good type, though. I don't think it quite makes the cut, but maybe in some decks. Darkrai, this one isn't good. 120, move all energy to your bench Pokemon anyway. Like, it's not awful, but there's some better Darkrai. Malamar's interesting. Once in your turn, you may look at the top card of your opponent's deck and the top card of your own deck. This is pretty solid, but I mean it's like a lot of space for not doing too much payoff. So I think this Malamar comes up a little short. And I don't know too much about dark type control either. Salazar, really boring. Oh, the Scizor is really. Oh, you can't really play Scizor though. But it does 10, 50 more for each opponent's Pokemon play as ability, but you can't really play Scizor. It's very awkward. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. This model is super good though. When you play it, you discard special energy from your opponent's active, and you have net. You have other things as well. I think this model is super solid. I don't think there are any other amazing Mawile in the format. So this one's pretty good. I like this. I think you'll see a bunch of play. Obviously, it's kind of techy too. This is immune to effects when it attacks, and if you have the same number, you do 120 for 2. That's okay. You kind of have to build towards that though. I'm not a big fan of this Bronzong. Turbo Pass, 160 for 3. It's whatever. There are some Pokemon a lot like this as well. Oh, we found the Excadrill. Okay. So we got 60 for 1. Not that impressive. This Kingambit's really interesting. Metal. If your opponent's active is 4 more damage counters on it. It's instantly KO'd, which could be very good. And then 140 for 3 is not great, but it's not awful either. I think this Kingambit is potentially very strong, but if you can get the damage counters on, obviously. And I don't know how you do that, but I'm sure there's some way. And there's a card that has synergy with it that allows you to do that as well. Togedemaru, immune on coin flip, not that impressive. Let's see. What else we got here? Altaria. You can't really play Altaria, though, unfortunately. Drampa, 60, 10 more for each damage count on it. I mean, it's colorless, which is nice, right? Because Dragon's like a weird deck because you got all sorts of stuff going on. But also, like, I don't know. It's not that strong. Let's see. Kangaskhan, not that impressive. Let's see what else we got here. Stoutland, not that impressive. Audino, not that impressive. Buffalant. It takes 20 less, 50, and then you flip till you get tails. 30 more for each heads. That's not actually awful. I don't hate this Buffalant. Bumblebee, not good. Gumshoes again. 60 removing energy isn't awful, but it's not great either. Squovit, Mill 1. I mean, always good. There's another good Squovit, but I'm not sure about this one. I don't think this one's great. And then we see a bunch of Lechongs. This Oinkologne is really good. Flip 3 for each heads. I mean, okay, it's outclassed, but it is pretty good. Flip 3, put a number of cards up to the number of heads you flipped from your discard into your hand, so you can flip. If you flip 3 heads, you get 3 cards back. And this is very solid. Obviously, Colors Control is probably the main type of control right now. And this is very solid. So I think Oinkologne is going to be a very strong Pokemon that's like an inclusion in that deck. Flamigo, this one isn't good. That doesn't really work. Brashius, it's like draws. It's a generic shuffle draw. Gita accelerates energy. So this could be, and then like essentially into your turn. It's kind of like Kiawe. I think in any deck where you play Kiawe, Gita's playable, but I don't know. I don't know if it's great either. I might see play in some decks. It's a weird card though. You can't attack the turn you play it, but you accelerate 2 energies, which could be good. Letter of Encouragement. If you kill the last turn, search for 3. It's standard GLC. It's good, and expand GLC. It's not as good because you have Professor's Letter and other stuff. So I don't love this card. Ortega, opponent reveals their hand, choose a card you find, they put it on the bottom of their deck, then you may draw a card. I think this is really nice because in GLC, it's really hard to read your opponent's hand, in my opinion, because they could be doing pretty much anything. And so it's super useful, and then you kind of know what they have planned as well. You can get so much info based on a GLC player's hand. I think this Ortega is pretty all right. Patrol Cap, if it's attached to your active, your opponent can't like mill cards from your deck, but they can just get rid of the tools, so it's not that impressive. Pokemon League Headquarters is not good in Standard, but it's going to be, I think, all right in GLC. Increases the attack cost of basic Pokemon, so harms some decks, but it's pretty situational as well. You have to kind of decide when you want to play. I don't think it's worth it, but it could be useful from at certain times. Poppy, move 2 energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. I don't think this is good. There are a lot of cards like it that are better than it. I think it's outclassed for the most part. Rhyme, draw 3, switch out your opponent's active to the bench, and your opponent chooses the new active. This isn't awful, but it's outclassed, I think. Team Star grants a reprint. Town Store allowing you to search for tools. As far as I know, there's not too much tool stuff going on, so not great. Vengeful Punch, last card here, has not just to do with the King Gambit we looked at, but if the cards are knocked out, this Pokemon's this card's attached to. If that Pokemon's knocked out, you put 4 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. It's okay. It's not great. I don't know. I think I'd rather have a Rocky Helmet. But I'm interested in hearing what you have to think about the set for the GLC. And also, like, obviously, I did a big video about GLC, so if you haven't seen that, check that out. But your GLC is kind of in a weird state right now. It's been a weird state pretty much forever. I mean, it's a custom format. It can't be not in a weird state. But I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I'm excited to see you next time.